Welcome to SwarmCast, the marketing hive for pest control pros from coast to coast. If you're tired of your competition bugging you and want to grow your business like a well-built colony, you're in the right place. Each episode, we'll break down the latest marketing trends, expert insights, and proven strategies to help you exterminate the competition and keep your phones buzzing. So strap in, pest bosses. It's time to swarm the market and take your business to the next level. This is SwarmCast.
Welcome to the SwarmCast. We have Seth Watson. Who is he? He's the founder of Focus Virtual Assistants. He also has Arete Pest Control. He has a variety of other things he's done, but he's employed a lot of people in different areas of the world today, coming from doing tax and accounting all the way into staying into pest control. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
He's got a lot to talk about, and people know this guy in the industry. We had him as a guest on our mastermind, and everybody was high-fiving across the Zoom channel. So it's not like people don't know Seth, but welcome to the show today, and we got a lot to talk about. So I'm not sure where you want to start with first. You tell me. Where would you like to start? You want to start talking about your pest control business? Or do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on the mastermind. That was a lot of fun. I apologize beforehand. So Wyatt's kind enough to have me on this mastermind. He starts teaching, right? And it turns out I've got 2 or 3 buddies in this mastermind. We didn't know any of the others were going to show up. So they're sending me text messages and I'm like laughing. And Wyatt's like, hey, Seth, is there something you wanted to share with the group? I see you laughing. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry. So I haven't had a chance to apologize. So that's my bad. It's good to meet you. I'll try to be a little better behaved during this one.
No, I hope you misbehave because that's how I am. And when I, take note of somebody laughing, I'm like, man, did I say something goofy? I don't know. So that's just a way of getting feedback. As far as this pest control company you started, and I'm reading it, and you started this thing over 10 years ago. You started in the pest control business over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Tell me how that happened. Yeah.
So I started doing pest control actually in 2003, just like anyone else. I get invited to, not anyone else, but I get invited to Olive Garden and get a pitch to, hey, you should come sell pest control door to door. Right. So a free lunch at Olive Garden turns into me going and selling pest control for summers. I used it to pay for my education. Okay. I got a degree in accounting. And while I was doing that, I would go sell pest control in the summers to pay for my education. Never thought of anything. I thought I was going to go into accounting. Turns out I'm not the kind of guy to sit in a cubicle and work behind a desk all day. So it kind of, it fit in my wheelhouse. And I sold it, had one of the companies I sold for said, hey, you should come start a branch with us. So we started that in Houston in about 2010. I sold it in 2015, and then I started Arete Pest Control, my company now in Atlanta. Now we operate in Atlanta and Utah.
Yeah, that's great. So where'd you come up with the name Arete? Where'd that come from?
It can't. So my wife and I, we were like, hey, what are we going to call the company, right? And so we had a list of names. And so one of the things we looked at is like, what's like excellence, right? So we just looked like synonyms for excellence. And Arete came up in Latin and it means virtue or excellence of any kind. But the funny thing is when we went to Georgia, we said, okay, we're going to start a company in Georgia. I had 3 names. Okay. They shot them all down because the Department of Agriculture gets to decide if they like your name or not, right? When I was in Texas before, it was like the Wild West. I could call myself, anything I wanted, but the Department of Agriculture in Georgia had a little more control. And so I gave a name. I had Focus, which you can see now, they shot it down. Okay. And then I think it was Innovate, and they shot that down. And then Arete was our third option. So they came back and said that. And at the time I thought, you know what, it's really cool. It's kind of a fun name. And now it's like, sometimes I wonder if I should change it because people are like, Arete, like nobody can say it. And then, so I'm knocking doors that first summer and I run into somebody and they're like, oh, earring pest control. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, Arete means earring in Spanish. And I was like, oh man, why did they do this to me? So, we just
That's a great
live with
story.
it, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's
Uh-huh.
kind of fun.
That's awesome, man. That's great. So I'm seeing 3 locations in Georgia. Is that right? Do you have 3 separate locations, or are they,
Yeah.
what
Yep.
is, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You love Georgia. Now, I spent some time in Georgia, in Atlanta.
Hmm.
I was getting trained, over 20 years ago with a company called UPS.
Okay. Yeah. I've
And
heard of them. Yeah.
they flew us into Georgia, Atlanta, where they train all their management personnel. And that was cool. I really enjoyed Atlanta. It was great. But Georgia, what a great city. There's plenty of bugs there. I'm sure you're doing quite well.
Yeah. Georgia, when we looked at a map, it was kind of like where it has a lot of bugs and a lot of money. So kind of
Oh
checked
yeah.
both marks off there.
Both boxes. You got this guy from Utah. I don't know where he got his door knocking start, but I would say, it probably came from his beliefs. And now he's, built this business. It's such a good training thing to go there and, make disciples, right? Go there and start talking to people about your beliefs. And I do that too myself. So you're not alone. And if you can talk to people about your beliefs, you can talk to them about bug service. And hey, it just it's a good, I would say it builds some really strong business owners, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, I was a missionary for our church for 2 years. I went to Oregon. I don't know if you see up here, I got a Ducks helmet up here, and so I served in Eugene, Oregon, and dude, I loved it. And it's funny, a lot of people would rather talk about religion than they do about bugs knocking on your door. I got yelled at more knocking on doors about bugs than I did ever talking about Jesus. So go figure.
That's a great story. I never did the door knocking for pest control. And I didn't have a problem talking to people about Jesus either. I mean, it was, I think it's just such a great training regimen to become diplomatic in the way that you speak and talk to others. And it certainly translates into business, right? You're a likable guy. You've been able to build this huge business. Now, along the way, you're probably like that shiny entrepreneur. You get bored sometimes. I'm like that guy over here, right? I've had a couple
Yeah.
businesses. You got bored or there was a problem, and all of a sudden you're talking about virtual assistants. Talk about that for a minute. Well, how did you traverse into that?
No, that's a great point, right? Like sometimes as entrepreneurs, we're always looking for new ways to make money, or like, hey, how do I got a side hustle or spin, or just something. And so honestly, it came out of need. So it was during COVID, just like everyone else, we had a really hard time finding employees. Really hard time finding technicians. Actually, it wasn't so bad, but it was just getting office help. So we would used to put out an ad for our office, and I kid you not, we'd put out an Indeed ad. In 2 weeks, I'd have 100, 150 applicants. Pick of the litter. COVID hit, would put out an ad. In 3 weeks, I would literally get 3 applicants. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, I call Indeed. I'm like, what are we doing wrong? They're like, well, it's just a tough market right now. So we went from paying our CSRs, our customer service reps, $12 an hour to $18 an hour. Like, let's just try to go, right? And get them. We changed it. We still couldn't get anybody, right? And it was just really, really hard to find quality people. So I'm having a barbecue at my house. My buddy Jake's there, and he's like, hey, Seth, have you ever thought about having a virtual assistant? And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And he's like, it's someone in a different country that works for you. And my first thought, and I'm so ignorant for thinking this, and it's what everyone else thinks, right? Is you're just going to have somebody with a thick accent on the phone, can barely understand English. And I tell him this, and he's like, no, that's not what it's like at all. And I'm like, well, dude, I don't think that's for me, right? And he's like, okay, no problem. Couple weeks later, I run into him again. He's like, Seth, how's it going? He's like, dude, we're missing calls. We're growing like crazy. We can't keep up with the demand. And he's like, just get a VA. Don't put them on the phones. Have them do your busy work. And I was like, okay, I talked to him a couple days later. I'll get one. Do not ask me to put them on the phones. So we hired Maria. She was our first VA. 4 years later, she's now our assistant manager of our customer service department, right? Dude, she was doing so every call that comes in is tracked. We tag it. Was it sold? Was it, what lead source did it come from? A lot of that's automated, but there still has to be hands on that. So at the time, she took that off of my plate, and I was like, I shouldn't be doing this, but it's important since we were down. She took it over. She was doing a better job than I was doing. And so slowly, as people left, we just realized, like, holy crap, she's really good. And I would check her numbers. She's answering more calls than our US based people. Plus, she's doing all of my reports. So the light bulb kind of went off in my head where I was like, I'm on to something here. So as one left, we'd replace him with a VA, and we did this until we were down to a manager. And then fast forward, I reached out to my buddy Jake, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, every business need these. And so we kind of had some discussions, and he let me, so we bought the customer list from him. We rebranded and started as Focus and Virtual Assistants and partnered up. So Jake's been doing it for a lot of years, but that's how I got into it. Is I was just so passionate because I had a hard time. It was a solution, and I'm like, let's just find fantastic people to work in businesses, because everybody needs quality people, right? We're only as good as our people. And so for me, it was just a natural fit.
It's awesome. I love hearing those stories. I mean, the first time I'm like, when you're telling the story, I'm like, hey, I went through something very similar. I'm in the marketing business, and sometimes to find talent in certain areas can be very difficult. It doesn't have to be during COVID. And, you know, I'm like, hey, I really need somebody that's good at this specific skill set, but hey, I can't afford them.
Yeah.
Like in the United States, this person is going to be X, and I'm like, I cannot afford that talent. And then all of a sudden I find somebody that I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger because I need to have somebody that can do the work, that's qualified, and maybe they're, you know, the affordability is there. I won't say the cost, but the affordability is there to where, okay, I like this. And now we're going on 5 years now. So I'm going to date this individual in my organization that, they've been at it for 5 years. I've paid for education. I've helped up level them. And it's just been a great experience to where it turned upside down any of the, what would I say? Sometimes stereotypes that we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And I would even go on to say some of my best people are in remote countries now. Remote countries.
Dude,
I love it.
it's amazing. And that's the thing, right? And like, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he's got a very large pest control company. He's like, Seth, why aren't we? And he doesn't handle a lot of the day to day. He's like, Seth, why aren't we using you in your call center? And I offended him when I said this. And I said, dude, I think you're just ignorant to it. And he was like, I'm ignorant. What do you mean? I was like, dude, let me back up. I just don't think you understand, like, the talent that we can get in other countries for a fraction of the cost. And he's like, okay, yeah, that sounds more reasonable. But it's
Sure.
true, right? Like, you get a VA, you get a virtual assistant, because it's like, great, I can find somebody for $8-9 an hour to come work in my business. Now, honestly, like, if they weren't good, I don't care if they're $8-9 now. You probably wouldn't have kept them working in your business. Am I right?
That's right. That's
But
exactly right.
you come back and get more, because for the jobs we're getting them for, they're better than we can get for our jobs here in the US, right? Like, I was paying
Oh, yeah.
18 to 20 bucks an hour, and my person at $8 an hour is running circles around my $20 an hour person, right? And so that's why you come back and get more. That's why you're like, okay, we're on to something here, is because these I don't want to call them low level jobs, but these jobs that people in the US aren't excited about, people in other countries are doing backflips for. It's a career opportunity for them. We're taking them to places that they couldn't get without it. And so it's not unnormal for us to have people with bachelor's degrees or master's degrees on your phones doing customer service, right? Like, highly intelligent people.
And then staying content, right? And some of that's cultural and some of it's just opportunity based, right? So it's,
Yeah.
you can't compare it. I mean, I would just think about if, let's just say you had a restaurant in California and you have to pay for the talent that's around it. They don't have that option. They have to pay top dollar to work that restaurant,
Yeah.
even though their heart may not be in it. And here, a lot of us, I would say PCOs are people that need back office help. It's global. There's no reason why we can't use global talent. And to me, it's just being competitive. And I mean, the big companies are doing this stuff, right? They've been doing it for years. It's not like this is anything new. I think that it's just been, I would say, productized to the way that, okay, now it's available to, if we know who Seth is and what he's doing, why wouldn't we use the VA? If we have the work, it's there. Why not?
No, I agree with you 100%. And there's an art to it, right? It's you're not going to go, and we failed on a lot of VAs. We've done a lot of things wrong, right? And every business has, right? Every business is messed up, but like we have it down to a science. Like we know how to hire people from other countries. We know how to vet them and make sure it's a win for your business. There's a lot of cultural things you need to understand. There's some nuances to that. And if you can figure those out and you can get guidance with them, man, it just opens up your talent pool. You go from this to your net's just so big that you can get to work in your business.
That's awesome. So get past the stereotypes, look beyond that. Then there's a proper way of vetting these folks, which Focus has figured out, no doubt, the best way after, we learn from our mistakes. Now, we live in the age of AI and AI bots. So that would be my first question. What's the difference between, okay, we got this virtual assistant versus grabbing in some technology and putting that in place? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
No, I think it's great, right? Like AI is a wonderful tool and it makes us more efficient. It makes so we can do more work with less people. There's a lot of amazing things, right? So obviously the difference is AI is computer based, it's intelligent based, right? It's not a human person. A virtual assistant is a live person. It's just somebody living in a different country. So for instance, if you called my call center right now and wanted to set up service, you're going to talk to somebody that's from the Philippines, Latin America, one of those two places. If we don't pick it or we can't get it up, pick up the phone at that time, then we do have AI that's going to grab that. In other words, AI, I don't think it's at the point where it can communicate quite there yet. One of my employees is like, Seth, it's just like a fancy answering machine. I think it's a lot more than that, but it is. I think there's a place in it for sure. But so yeah, big difference is these are live, actual people, right, doing the work opposed to a robot. In other words, grabbing the phone and taking down a name and a number, or trying to schedule an appointment.
Yeah, and there's a big variance there. I mean, for our mastermind, we have a sponsor that's in that arena. I've certainly talked to at least six players in that space. Technology's getting better, but it's still not a person. So we'll just leave it there. Maybe at some point in the future, it will be there. But until then, we have the VA. So let's talk about, for a pest controller that's trying to grow and scale, they can't afford somebody in the States. Their wife's tired of answering the phones. AI tech is just not working for them. And I would say that I've seen plenty of that fail for people. What are they going to do? What are they going to have that virtual assistant do? Let's just say the guy's doing less than $1 million a year in pest control revenue. How's that VA going to help them?
Well, yeah, first thing, right? I think the most important thing you do is you look at your day and you say, what allows me to grow my business? What allows me? So right, I can give you a blanket answer, but in short, what's going to free you up to do the thing that you do the best? Is that spraying houses and interacting with customers and letting a VA answer the phones? Or is that freeing up someone from answering customer service so that you can go out and do sales, right? And so you have to figure out, for me, I want to free up time so I can generate revenue in my business, or so that I can work with my team to generate more revenue in my business, right? So for me, it was a no-brainer. We have them doing customer service. I have VA sales reps that crush it to sell very well, $100,000, in a month, right, with customers. And so you can do anything from routing, customer service, billing, collections, optimize routes. That's one big thing. We have our technicians call in at the end of every day. They talk to one of our VAs, and the VA goes over their route the next 2-3 days and says, hey, look, you've got this appointment. Can we combine these? Right. So we can get more stops done in a day. less gas, save us money. I have them cold call old leads, old customers, old estimates, canceled customers, right? Text messages, emails, whatever they can take off of your plate to let you do what makes you the best you can be in your business. That's what you want them doing.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm talking from experience. I have three of them doing different functions, right?
Yeah.
One's highly technical, stuff that I don't want to do, and that you need to stay cutting edge on. The other one is doing like just tasks that take super focus. There's your plug. It takes focus
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
knock out that the business owner's doing their thing, right? And then I have one that's doing sales every day, 8 hours. They're on it. I can see the database growing. I see the outreach. I see their LinkedIn profile growing. I see, all the stuff that is necessary in business, I would say, prospecting and building. So for PCOs that are trying to build, especially their commercial side, you could have somebody run the LinkedIn game all day long.
All
Just
day.
train them up
Yep.
what you want them to do. I mean, LinkedIn is a lengthy game, and it's not. Most people are doing it wrong. 99% will just auto the email, and no business owner checks that stuff. But
Yep.
if they go into LinkedIn, they say, "Oh, wait, there's a voice message for me or a video message for me. Hey, I'm gonna check that out." They took the time to say something to me. Those are the kind of things that are high value, take time, and like you said, unload the business owner. So talk about some of the flexibility. So if I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Focus, I'm a PCO owner. I can't afford a full timer. Do you guys do like a quarter timer? What do you guys do as far as options there?"
Yeah, 100%. Well, right, like we want to find somebody that's going to work in your business, right? And so our process is we're going to work with the PCO, the lawn company, whoever you are, right? Like we're going to work with you to find out what your needs are, and then we're going to go out and find that, train that person. Because at the end of the day, we want them to, and our secret sauce is like we're finding career oriented people. We want to find people that want to grow with your business, right? Because if we can make them feel like they're part of your team, dude, it goes so much further, right? Because we're giving them an opportunity they can't get in their country. Like they're looking for a career. They want to grow and build and make they understand that, hey, it's top level down, meaning we want to make the entity grow because then we all win. And so we work with you to find the best fit. We send you candidates, bios, videos of the candidates. Before we ever send you those, we've put them through a training course, English tests. We've checked their hardware on their computers, their internet speed, making sure they have a quiet workspace, noise canceling headphones. I said English tests. So we make sure they're ready to show up to perform the task that you have at hand, right? And then we walk you through it. We send you the video, the bio. You choose who you want. We interview them with you, and then we're off and running. Then we support you as little or as much as you would like to make sure that it's a good relationship for here and years to come. And so a short answer is yes, we can get people quarter, part-time, full-time. And we talk about that, right? Like, hey, these are some of the things you need to be aware of if you're getting someone part-time. Are they working for you? Are they trying to work another job? Are they working 3 part-time jobs? Right. And so we talk about that. How much more is it if we just kick them to full-time? Can you get your return? Right. Like, okay, I want them working part-time. Well, what if you use it full-time and the other half the time they're doing LinkedIn outreach? And you get 3 more jobs a month, you just tripled what it cost you. So we kind of talk you through that. But at the end of the day, we want to make it a good fit for you and your business.
Yeah, that's great, man. I really like that. I mean, so I'm sure the pest control owners are sitting there going, "Hey, what is this going to cost me per hour? What is a typical
Yep.
VA? Let's just say What are their pay ranges? What are we looking at here?"
Yeah. So Philippines, you're typically going to be anywhere from $8 to $9 an hour. Latin America, you're $9 to $10 an hour. Right. Now you could have some outliers. We find someone with a great experience in that, and it's $11 an hour or something like that. But when you say, "Hey, Seth, we want to grab a VA, let's try it out." When we send you the bio, when we send you the link and their video, we also say, hey, this person's $8 an hour. This person's $9 an hour. So right off the bat, before you even interview them, this is what their price is.
That's great. That's great. I mean, that's really affordable, especially when you think about you're not paying for a lot of these other costs. Like, I think about, having to, pay like health benefits. You're not paying health benefits. You're not paying for, I don't have to set up a desk for somebody with a computer. They're ready to go at home, right? Or
Yeah,
they come into an office building. I don't know, but you vet them so they're ready to go in their own environment, right?
correct. Yeah. And most of the time they're working from home, and that's part of the vetting. Do they have proper internet? Do they have proper, quiet workstation? Do they have those things? And we make sure all that's set up. And is it perfect? No. Does it work? Absolutely. Sometimes we have, there's so many tools out there that can drown out background noise so they don't know any different, right? There's so many. And so, yeah, we just want to make sure that it's a good fit and they're a good fit for you. So we do all of that legwork for you
Okay, so
beforehand.
and that's awesome. It's so important. I mean, I just picture a lot of guys just going, why don't I just go and find a freelancer, right? Why don't I just
Yeah.
go online, find my freelancer? And I've heard horror stories. Can you share with me why somebody should go through a Focus or even through another agency that is properly vetting players?
Yeah. Yeah. Use us. Don't use us. Don't do the mistake of not using an agency. Two things. One, if you don't use us, I strongly believe, and I've seen it, you're going to fail more times than you succeed. There's just too much to hiring someone in a different country culturally. So, like, before we even let you have a VA through us, I don't care how big you are. I don't care if you've used VAs before. You have to take our Winning with a VA course. Like, it's non-negotiable because we want to make sure the VA is set up for success. We want to make sure you're set up for success. Because if you're not coming back to get 2, 3, 4 more VAs, right? So we're in the best interest to make sure you understand how to use them. We're best interest to make sure they're set up for success, right? So I would say that the second thing is you can go and find them. There's plenty of places to go and find. Go to Fiverr, go to Upwork, go to on Facebook and see if you can find them, and you can do it. But remember, like, you're going to have somebody working in your business. If you have someone working in your business, you've got to be taxed on them. And this is where we get people all the time. Every month I have people call me that get in hot water using a VA on their own and they're not set up properly. And they come to us and we've got to do all this work and be like, okay, well, let's get them managed, right? Because they're working in your business. I don't care where they are. If you're dictating when they come to work, you got an email set up for them, you're working on their software, they're an employee, you got to pay taxes on them. So if you're not, you're in some hot water there. They don't count as a 1099 because you're dictating when they work. You're giving them software to use in your business. So that doesn't qualify. So really you need to be using, whether it's us or someone else, you need to be using an agency to so you're not breaking that corporate veil, right? So we handle the taxes, we handle the HR, we handle all that stuff. And so you're just plugging them into your thing. So those are the two things. One, you got a legal thing. Two, we're going to do the legwork, right? Like, for instance, you're in Arizona or California, Wyatt?
I've had businesses in both, but right now I'm in Arizona.
You're in Arizona. Okay. Let's say you want someone to come work and dude, I bet you have people like outside of this. You're probably the one outlier. I see all the video games in the background. Like, people are probably loving come to your office, but like, if you were to get somebody, right? Like, I don't know how long it would take you to hire someone, right? Let's say you go on Indeed, you put an ad, you let it run for how long? A week, maybe 2, right? To get as many candidates as you can. And then you're going to interview them. Takes you a week. You bring them back for a second interview, right? Best case scenario, you're 3 to 4 weeks until you have somebody that you can bring into your business. Is that pretty fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you call me and say, hey, Seth, this is what I'm looking for, 99% of the time, we already have people waiting on the bench. So you're a month to bring someone in, opposed to 2 to 3 business days. We have a VA ready to work in your business, right? So I would say those are the big things why you want to go with someone. One, set you up so you're not selling. 2, we can have them in your business in 2 to 3 days instead of waiting a month, right? And 3, they're going to succeed better.
So walk me through this really quick.
Yep.
I'm a PCO. the big thing always is learning the systems, right? I
Yeah.
mean, are you preemptively training people on the major systems that are out there, like the software systems?
Dude, right now we're not. We get them sometimes, and we have right trained them on software before. But we're actually it's pretty cool. We have a lot of training tools right now. We have an AI
Mm.
training tool that simulates the customer. So
Mm.
if you say, "Hey Seth, we want to get this VA," okay, let's bring him on. Cool, let's get him trained on customer service. Let's get them trained on sales beforehand, right? So this AI acts like a customer, and we can say, "Hey, play an insanely hard customer, an easy customer, whatever you want." And so they simulate it. It gives them a score. And so like we can have VAs ready that know, or you have some downtime, use our tool if you're using our VAs for them to go practice before Miss Jones calls in and they screw up on her. Let's have her screw up on AI. So we've got a lot of tools that way. We're working with a few of the pest control software companies right now to create training courses. So our end goal is that you come to us and you're like, "Hey, Seth, I want someone that knows this pest control software and has great, choose from one of these 7 that you can." So we're in the process of doing that right now. Customer service experience, those we have all those tools, but a couple of the softwares we have, there's a couple we're still getting access to create trainings for.
No problem. That's great. I mean, I think that's huge value because that's where a lot of pest control companies they have to bring those people up to speed
Yeah.
on what systems they're using. Being in the pest control space for 5 years, there's what 7 or 8 tops software companies out there. And then the work that a VA would do, do they need to know everything? No, I think there's the basic stuff, right? Which I think that the training isn't that hard. We're not talking about strategy, business strategy, and stuff like that. Maybe over time they'll learn that and become a player like some of the people that you've come to work with. But it just changes the attitude towards what's available. And I think for a pest control owner that's struggling, maybe they're trying to get to that second truck or third truck, and they're like, "Man, I need to make 2 grand more a month, to pay for the insurance in that truck." Well, they're stuck. Sometimes they're stuck because either A, they don't have enough sales, or maybe they're paying too much on their talent that's already there. And I hate to say it that way, but it happens. And so sometimes it might be a growth thing where, hey, I don't have to put up with this bad attitude. I could go have somebody here in 3 days that's ready to
Yeah.
go, that's
Yeah.
already been vetted. And I think that's nice to know that you have those options. I know as a pest control owner and some of the other business I've done, I've felt tied. Like I can't do anything because I don't have somebody that can do that work. Leveraged, I guess, is the word. And so it's nice to know that there's options out there. And we live in that time frame where, yeah, there are people that want to work. Go
You know,
figure, there are
yeah.
people want to work.
I'm curious, and I've said this, and when you're in a growing business, you always say this, and sometimes I feel like
Mhm.
I'm curious. I'm asking you a question now. Why have you ever thought to yourself? And I get this all the time. I'm like, dude, I feel like sometimes I'm held hostage by some of my employees. I can't let this tech go or the CSR because we're going to miss calls, right? So you put up with mediocre to hoping to get over that hit, that hump until you find someone else. Have you ever dealt with that?
Oh yeah, that goes way, way back. I mean, I remember feeling that pressure way back in the UPS days
Yeah,
when I was they would always run super thin, and when somebody was out, you just felt it,
felt it.
and that's the beauty of something like this. Now, I'm thinking strategically, if let's just say I had a back office of 3 people,
Hmm.
one person's sick or not there, it could affect everybody's day, including the technician out in the field. Why wouldn't you have maybe a part timer that learns your systems that's there? So when somebody decides to quit or they're sick or whatever, now you rotate somebody in. Now you're set.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
it is. And one of the thing is like go do the math, right? Like if we get you a VA at $9 an hour, they'll say they're working 160 hours in the month. That's 8 hours a day times 20 days. You're at like 1,400 bucks all in for a full-time VA, right? Go see how much it is to get one of those overflow call centers. If you're under 3 grand for your overflow, like you're doing backflips, right? Like, oh wait, I can get a full-time person to take any of my overflow, my night calls, you know what I mean? That can be doing other stuff when it like, dude, you're going to 10x your value out of those. And so, yeah, you're right. But if you have more of them, right, like you can literally get 2 or 3 for the price of one US person. If they're better, it's like, dude, I just filled my whole staff if I've got a 3-man office for the same price as I paid for a one US based person, right? And so yeah, you alleviate that problem of being handcuffed by bad employees because you've got an extra that can pick up, or needs to take a leave for a week. You're not freaking out. You got plenty of coverage.
Yeah, that's pretty inexpensive to have what I would call a float or a floater, uh, to have somebody that's available. And this is no different than I've seen this in the dental industry. I've seen this in other service-based industries where they always have that backup so that there's never that pressure, right? And it seems to always be a pressure valve with, staff that start leveraging the owner. And that's not cool when you see it. It's not fun to be in that position. I've been in that position before, and you learn from your mistakes. So with that in mind, I think we've answered a lot of questions that PCOs want to know. I know that you're not just stuck in pest control. There's other people in the service industry that could benefit from what you guys do with Focus. How many other different industries are you servicing?
Dude, a ton. I mean, e-commerce, lawn, construction, realtors. We have property management companies, marketing companies. Dude, any job you can do that's not have to be there. Besides, I always say, like, they can do anything remotely except for go and get your mail, right? Like pest control is just one arm of our VA, right? Like we have HVAC, plumbing, any service industry we have tons in, right? And so, yeah, I mean, any business you're running, if you're not using a VA, a remote employee, I mean, you're missing the ship. You're missing the boat.
I'm going to throw one topic out there. It's controversial, and I've seen it happen where the company gets tied to their VA, like I am, and they just love them. Do you guys have like a buyout? Do you guys do buyout stuff?
We haven't come across that, right? Because at the end of the day, that's how we make money, right? So, we're not, I guess, our people, we want to keep great people, and we want to keep relationships. So hopefully in the long term, we have, a relationship where we provide enough value that, we're working with. So right now we don't, not that we're not above that, not that we wouldn't have that conversation with somebody, right? We'd rather keep the relationship, but we haven't had that where someone's done that. I think we've kind of felt like we bring enough value that there hasn't been need to be that, but I'm saying it won't happen, right?
And I've
but
only
then you
heard
come
that,
across the same thing. How are you going to manage them? You're still in the same situation, right? Like, do you have a different entity to run them through? Right. Then you still come across the legal thing of, am I paying, you know what I mean? HR wise, is it set up correctly?
I don't really know. It's just I've heard this come up more than once, and that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm just curious how you handled it. I've seen it where I've seen buyouts, right, to handle those kind of scenarios. I didn't know if you guys had that. That's okay. I think that what I would suggest, and maybe you feel the same way, is try one out. Just pick some stuff that you really don't like doing. Calculate that time and how, if you put that into something else that you're really good at, how would that impact your organization? I think the return on investment is heavy here, right? $1,400 doesn't go very far in marketing. Let's just say you hired a VA to do sales for you. I have one working for me right now doing sales. And I'm like, you know what? You'll learn our sales process over time, but let me show you how to at least just set the appointment. Get the appointment. She's doing great. I'll tell you this. We like telling stories. She was able to get me an appointment with one of the largest pest control companies in pest control with the CEO.
That's awesome.
With the CEO. Yeah. And so here we did a podcast. This guy's rolling $100 million a year company. That's impressive.
No, so that's really impressive.
And she's from Latin America, in her 20s. And what I paid attention to was how much she was selling in the solar industry. So it doesn't always have to be pest control. I just get that out of your head. If somebody's performing in another task, think about the functions they're doing, and then let Focus vet them, find the right people, and then hey, you don't have this long cycle of waiting, and you might even cut your costs down to help you do other things that are going to make you more profitable in the long run.
100%.
Yeah, no, this is great. We haven't done this topic yet on this podcast. I think this was super helpful. Obviously things are unfolding with AI bots, and we just haven't talked about VAs a lot. I do think that there's a lot of stereotypes out there, but I also have heard a lot of great things, and I'm personally experiencing this stuff right now. I have plenty of people that I employ in the United States, but when you think about some jobs that are mundane or people don't want to do here or you can't find, why not? Why not consider this and give Focus a try? So I'll leave it there. If they want to reach out to you, Seth, what's the best way? Should they just go through your website on Focus?
They can go to our website. They can email me personally, focusvirtualassistance.com, Seth at focusvirtualassistance.com. You can go to any of our socials, call us on our phone number, text us, send a smoke signal, a carrier pigeon, whatever you want. We'll respond. But yeah, reach out to us. We're happy to help, dude. Even this, right? Like, you don't know what to do. You're like, Seth, I don't know if these A's for me. I'll tell you what, I have 3-4 calls a week from people that are like, Seth, I have a VA, got it from an agency. Like, just call me up. I'm more than happy to tell you, hey, dude, this is what works. This doesn't work. Good luck. If we can help you down the road, awesome. Like, more than anything, I just love making friends in our industry and seeing how we can help each other. So yeah, reach out, see how we can help. If you're having a VA and you're struggling, reach out. I'm happy to give you some pointers and say, hey, this is why it's not working. This is what you need to look at.
That's great, Seth. Man, I really appreciate you having you on, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at Pest World coming up, and you're welcome anytime on our mastermind call. So nice having you today.
You're kind. Thank you, Wyatt.
That's a wrap on this episode of SwarmCast. Thanks for tuning in and arming yourself with the marketing firepower to keep your pest control business thriving. Before you scurry off, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. It helps us spread like a well-placed bait station. Got a topic you want us to tackle? Drop us a line and let's keep the conversation buzzing. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strategic, and keep swarming the market.